Rabotai, the subject of the shiur is Tu B'Av, as we mentioned last week that we're going to speak about Tu B'Av. The Mishnah in Masechet Ta'anit, chapter 4, verse 8, say like this: Amar Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, לא היו ימים טובים לישראל כט"ו באב וכיום הכיפורים. Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel say in the Mishnah of Masechet Ta'anit, chapter 4, verse 8, that was never been a good day for the Jewish people as the day of Tu B'Av, 15 of Av, and Yom HaKippurim. We have to understand what's happened. Let's continue. חמישה דברים טובים אירעו לישראל בט"ו באב. Our sages say that 5 good things happened to the Jewish people in Tu B'Av, in the 15 of Av. We're going to see that there is different opinion, that there is maybe 6 ideas, but they also, our sages say that there's 2 of them that it's actually 1, and it's not 6, it's only 5. Rabbi ורב יוסף אומרים, Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef say, יום שפסקו לכרות בו עצי המערכה. That means that on Tu B'Av, they stop cutting the tree for the trees that they used to light the fire. The עצי המערכה, that means that they used to light the fire on the Mizbeach, in Beit HaMikdash, the Mishkan, that they also used to call Shavar Magal. What it means, Shavar Magal? Shamar, it's broken. Magal is the thing that we chop the wood with it. That it's the day that we stop actually cutting.
Who was cutting them down?
Who's cutting them now?
Who's cutting them down? Levy or
who
everybody?
used to cut them?
Yeah.
Am Israel, everyone. Very good question. The question became why it was so important. What they used to do with those trees. Hazal explained that those trees that they used to cut, you cannot bring them wet and light the fire with them. Number 2, you have to dry them on the sun. We know that in Eretz Israel now it's summer, but we're talking a few months before that it's very hot. They leave them on the sun. Number 2, they have to make sure that those trees have no worm inside, because no worm allowed to go on the Mizbeach because it's davar tameh, and therefore they have to make sure that after they cut the tree and after they dry, they have to make sure that there is no worm inside. So what's the simcha about it? What's the happiness about that you stop cutting? Hazal said because until now they were so busy cutting the trees, they actually didn't have time to study Torah. Now that they stopped, the simcha becomes that they're going back to start studying Torah. That was the main simcha. That means that it's not that they stopped cutting the tree, that was the main thing. The main thing was that they needed to stop cutting, and by that they stopped cutting, they're going back to study Torah. That was the main simcha. So on Tu B'Av, they start going back to study Torah, that was the simcha. The second opinion, Rav Yehuda, Beshem Rav Ishmael, Rabbi Yehuda, in the name of Rabbi Ishmael, say, Yom shebo utru hashvatim lavo ze beze. That means that Rabbi Yehuda, in the name of Rabbi Ishmael, say that was the day that all the tribes, the 12 tribes, allowed to get married one with each other. Because until that day, they was not allowed to get married, and the main reason is because the properties, that means that when they inherit land, each one was inherit different land, and they didn't want that to happen. But when they enter Eretz Israel, after each one have his own heritage, our sages make a decree that they allowed. Now that all settled, they can get married one with each other, and there is no problem with the Yerusha. Okay. The third opinion, that's Rabbi Yosef Beshem Rabbi Nachman. Rabbi Yosef say in the name of Rabbi Nachman, Yom she'utar bo shevet Binyamin lavo bakahar. That on Tu B'Av, that's the day that the tribe of Binyamin allowed him to marry with the other tribes. What the story was. After the story of Pilegesh Bagiva, that what happened there, any one of you know? It looks like very quiet, so I will continue. In Pilegesh Bagiva, it was a story that it was an argument between a husband and his concubine. And she ran to his father. After a while, when he found out that he's missing her, Hazal said that he gone to his house, to her father's house to fetch her. And the father said to him, please stay with us, have with us some supper, have with us some meal. And he did. The following morning was the same. He said, listen, I need to go back, I can't stay anymore. And he decided to continue. In the afternoon, he's going back. By the evening, when he walks back, it was too late. It was already dark. And he decided that they don't have a place to stay. They arrive in a tribe of Binyamin, to the area where the tribe of Binyamin was. That means the heritage of Binyamin. And the old man saw him and he brought him in to his house, him and his concubine. And when the tribe of Binyamin saw that, was some of them that was cheeky and naughty people. And they knock on the door and they ask, did you have a visitor? They asked the old man. The old man obviously answered them, yes. And they said, bring them out. We wanna test them. And you know what I'm talking about. And the old man said, listen, they are my visitors, we can't. And instead he given them the concubine, and all night they actually have an immorality relationship with her against her will. And in the morning she just managed to crawl to the doorstep and she died there. So when that happened, the man saw that, he chopped. Lo alenu, that woman that they done what they done to her and she died, he chopped her to 12 pieces. And he brought to each tribe of Israel a piece. And he said to them, to the head of the tribe, is that what's supposed to happen in Israel? So the Sanhedrin sit and they decide that they ask the tribe of Binyamin to surrender those people that done whatever they done, those naughty guys. And the tribe of Binyamin refused. I'm saying it very briefly. And they said that they're going to go to war. And what happened? They gone to a war, and 120,000 people from the entire 12 tribe died, not only from Shevet Binyamin. After that, the Sanhedrin pasken that no one should marry Shevet Binyamin. So all the 11 tribes actually have nothing to do with the Shevet of Binyamin, with the tribe of Binyamin. And in Tu B'Av, many years later, Hazal saw what's happening, the Sanhedrin saw what's going to happen, and they decide that if they're not going to change that decree, nothing going to left from Shevet Binyamin, and therefore they changed that decree and they allowed Shevet Binyamin to remix with the rest of the tribes, and that was a day of happiness. And therefore, that's what we say, that Shevet Binyamin utar lavo bakal. That means that everyone allowed to marry with the Shevet of Binyamin. The rest of the 11 tribes can marry now if they want to marry a woman or a man from the tribe of Binyamin. They've been allowed on Tu B'Av. Let's move on to the fourth. Rabbi Yohanan Omer, Rabbi Yohanan said, Yom shekalu bo mate midbar. That means that that's the day that the 600,000 people that when they left Egypt after the sins of the Meraglim, that after the Meraglim sin, there been a decree that they're all going to die. All the people that over the age of 20, from the age of 20 to the age of 60, they're all going to die in the Midbar for the next 40 years. That means if you do calculation, 15,000 people will die every year for the next 40 years. And what used to happen? Every Tisha B'Av, they used to dig a grave and they all used to wake up in the morning. Those that wake up, wake up. Those that didn't wake up, lo aleinu, those 15,000, they used to cover them and they used to bury them. What happened in the 39 years, just before the Eretz Israel? Our sages tell us that One morning, after 39 years, everyone wake up in the morning and they see that they're still alive. They said that the Jewish people was thinking maybe they make a mistake. They decide, okay, well, we sleep again. And that's what they done until Tu B'Av. When they saw the moon full, then they realized that it's Tu B'Av, because on Tu B'Av, on the 15th of Av, on the 15th of the month, the moon is full. And they realized that they didn't make mistake. That means that they realize now that the all 600,000 that was supposed to die in Bamidbar, they all finished to die. From now on, no one going to die anymore. The fifth one, Ula, Omer, יום שביטל בו המלך הושעיה בן אלה את הפרסדאות. What does it mean? That the king Hoshaya ben Elah, he was a king in the Shomron, in Samaria. He actually canceled the God that the king Yerovam ben Nevat, that he was a king, but he was a very, very, very wicked king, that he used to worship idol, and he didn't want the Jewish people to come up to Yerushalayim, to Beit HaMikdash, especially in the festival. So he put on the main road, on the main, passing, that in that time that they have gods, that they wouldn't allow the Jewish people to come to Beit HaMikdash, that those people that used to live outside Yerushalayim, outside Jerusalem, okay, he put a special god, so no one will go up to celebrate, especially in a festival. So when the king Hoshaya ben Elah came, he canceled those gods, and now everyone can go and pray and to bring the sacrifice to Beit HaMikdash. Okay? When it was again on the 15th of Av, Tu B'Av. That was again a good day for the Jewish people, a happy day. Rav Matana Omer, Rabbi Matana say something different. Yom shenitnu bo mete betar legvura. That's the Gemara in Masechet Gittim, 57, page 1. The Gemara in Masechet Gittim say that that's the day that actually that the people that Andrianos Caesar, that in his time he killed 200,000 people from the city of Beitar. And the Gemara in Masechet Gittim tell us that the blood actually from the city of Beitar actually was pouring to the Yam HaTichon, that's the Mediterranean Sea. Not only that, that after Andrianos Caesar killed 200,000 people from the city of Beitar, he took their bodies and he made a fence with their body around the vineyard. And that took for 7 years, Rabotai. For 7 years, those bodies stood up as a fence. The Gemara there tell us, our sages explain, that for 7 years they didn't need to fertilize the ground because the blood that was pouring on that ground was so fertilized that they didn't need to fertilize it. Not only that, make another miracle. What was the miracle? That that those bodies never got rotten, number one. That was a big miracle. Never got rotten, never got smelly. And the Gemara in Masechet Brachot 48:1, Memchet Amud Aleph, the Gemara tell us that Rabban Gamliel, okay, and the entire Hazal, that was in that time, because Rabban Gamliel was the not Av Bedin, the Nasi of Israel, with the rest of the Sanhedrin. They make a takana. What they make a takana? They make a takana that in Birkat HaMazon, they're adding up Hatov ve'Ametiv. Hatov, that means the good that they brought to Kvura. What does it mean? That those people that Andrianos Caesar killed, 200,000, after 7 years brought up to burial. They got a burial. Ve'Hametiv, that means that they actually, the body stayed the same, never got rotten, never got smelly. Can you imagine that? So then they make a takana that they add up the fourth bracha, Tov ve'Ametiv. So now we understand that there is 6 opinion. Where's the 5th opinion? It's opinion number 2 and number 3. That some sages said, some of our Hazal said that it was the same, that the takana that allowed the Shvatim and allowed Shevet Binyamin, it's considered as one.
What's a takana?
Takana, they make a decree. Make a decree that we have to say Atov Me'amediv, they add it up. You follow what I'm saying? So what did they say? Hazal say here that because, according to Rav Matana, that in Masechet Gittin, that on the 15th of Av, those people that got killed and murdered and slaughtered by Andrianos Caesar, Andrianos Caesar, okay, they brought after 7 years to burial. That was a big day for the Jewish people. It was a good day. There's another opinion that that's the day that Hazal tell us that the women that not married, girls that not married, that they reach the age, they're going out, they dress in white, and they tell the boys to look at them and not to look at the beauty. What does it mean? To look, like Rabbi said in Masechet Avot, אל תסתכל בקנקן, אלא מה שיש בתוכו. Rabbi said, don't look at the jar, look what there is inside. So the girls used to say to the boys that was looking for shidduchim, don't look at the exterior, look at the interior. What's the connection now between Tu B'Av and Yom Kippurim? So there is few connection. I'm going to bring 2. The sages, our sages explain, number 1, that we all know that Yom Kippurim, we all think about it as a day of fasting, it's a difficult day. But we have to understand that Yom Kippurim, it's actually a very, very happy day for the Jewish people. Why? Because we all know that Moshe Rabbeinu, after he brought the first tablet and he broke them, he gone back to heaven for 40 days and 40 nights. And when he come down, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to him in the 40 days, Salachti kidvarecha. That means that he forgave the Jewish people. And he brought down the second tablet. And when Moshe Rabbeinu brought it down to the Am Yisrael, that was a day of forgiveness, a day of repentance. Not only that HaKadosh Baruch Hu forgive the Jewish people when they build the golden calf. That's one opinion. Now we're going to link it to Tu B'Av, sorry. Not Tu B'Shvat, Chas v'Shalom, Tu B'Av we're talking. So the connection is that we say that it was a day of Shidduchim. So when a man used to meet the girls and he wanted her, he obviously used to go to her father and ask her hand. And they used to make, that's the day that they used to make the Shidduch. But on Yom Kippur, because it's a day of forgiveness, they used to make the father and the mother and the father-in-law, the future father-in-law and the future mother-in-law, they used to make the day that they're going to get married. So the Gemara in Masechet Yerushalmi and Masechet Bikurim tell us on the day that a man and a woman get married, HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually take all the sin, put it in a bottle, and the words of the Gemara, Pokakim lo kol avonotav. That means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu take all the sin that young boy done, and the young girl, he put it in a bottle, and he closed it with a cork. That means that on that day that Hatan get married and the Kala, it's a day of forgiveness. That means when did they meet? They meet in Tu B'Av. But now on Yom Kippurim, they're making the day of the wedding. It's a day of Slicha Yom Kippurim. Also, it's become a day that they're going to get married. It's a double day of Slicha. And that's the connection. That lo hayu yamin tovim liYisrael, the same like HaKadosh Baruch Hu forgive the Jewish people on Yom Kippurim. When he said to Moshe, Salachti kidvarecha, after 40 days and after 40 nights. Here HaKadosh Baruch Hu forgave for the young couple for their sin when they decide to get married. So from here we see how important is it for those youngsters, when they reach the age, to hurry up and to get married. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu will forgive their sin. Please God, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will forgive all Am Yisrael for their sin speedily in our time. Amen. Ken Yehi Ratzon.